You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Sup, COH fans, and welcome to episode 77 of Frontline Fatalities, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, FatalSaint? I am doing very well, thank you very much. I am also very excited because we're very soon, actually, it just occurred to me, we're going to be hitting TFN's first birthday. TFN is going to be 1 year old pretty soon. Yeah, 77 casts later. Here we still are.
Well, 77 plus some live casts and whatever. I think we actually might be going over. You know, if you count every match individually, maybe we're over 100. I'm not actually sure. I haven't actually counted it.
We have more than 100 videos uploaded. We have something like 150 uploaded. So
yeah, this is true. This is true. Well, it's interesting to see. Anyways, almost 1 year birthday for TFN. Always fun. Always fun to have a birthday. Whatever it actually entails. I'm not sure.
Bella made a Swedish cake.
Yes.
With TFN on it.
I will fraps it and put it up on TFN YouTube. No, probably not. That's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is a game on Sturstoff between Silence and Sandland actually today, which is going to be interesting. A map that we don't feature very heavily on TFN because it's generally, I guess, it's just not played that much in all the match.
No, not really. It tends to be unticked by a lot of players. It's one of those weird maps. You kind of love it or hate it, really. For me, I love it. I really like it. Whenever I get it, it's like, whoa, yeah, I love it. Mainly because I very rarely lose on it, because
that might be helpful.
Yeah, that does tend to help.
That does tend to help.
But it's a fun map.
Okay, you ready to go, Tommy?
I am ready.
At the 5-second mark, on pause in 3, 2, 1, on pause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And Silence will be playing the US in this matchup against Sandland's Wehrmacht. And, you know, let's talk about a little bit about Stursdorf. I know we've gone through it a little bit when we've done the few casts that we actually already done on Stursdorf. It's, you know, just the resources just makes these games, like, insane on Stursdorf sometimes because there's just so much of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've sort of got two choices when it comes down to Stursdorf's Wehr. You can either go for sort of the camp creep, which is generally safer, especially on this map because you've got you can sort of sit in any 4 territories or so and still have a great munitions income or a decent fuel income. And so you can either go to the left or go to the right and then just sit there and camp. That's what I do because I like to play it safe. But you can also go for the super aggressive, go for the pin straight down the middle, blitz into the building, and then just start shooting at his barracks from inside his base using one of the many factory buildings that have been put there almost precisely for that purpose. So you've got a lot of choice.
It sure seems like this map was built with the concept of maybe we can do a base pin map. You know, maybe I'm not sure, because apart from that, it doesn't really play on any massive cutoffs. You got the one on the right-hand side at the 16 fuel. You know, everybody's just harassing that all game long just to decap that fuel so no one gets that income. But apart from that, there's like no angle cutoff on this map. There's nothing for you to just sit on this one point and completely, you know, drain your opponent of all his resource income by just sitting on this one point. Because you need 2 or 3.
You've got to be a little bit more artistic when it comes to the thinking behind cutoffs here. I would say actually it has the most brutal cutoffs in this map, even more brutal than Angerville, because it is possible not just, you know, you do the cutoff on Angerville, you've cut your opponent off from most of his resources. He's going to have a +10 munitions and a +5 fuel, but you know he's going to lose most. But on Stursdorf, you can literally cut your opponent off from everything and have him with one sector, which is his base sector, but you do have to have a certain size of testicle sack to actually do that, because it takes some balls to pull off.
I guess you need to use the base pin effect as well.
Well, exactly.
You got to contain your
opponent. If you're
opponent.
doing it from the north, obviously Sandland's playing from the south here, but if you do it from the north, you take the strategic point just to the left of the base, you take the munitions point just outside the base, and you take the +5 fuel. They are all definitely reachable, and then you stick an MG inside this big old factory building, and there you go. There's your base pin, and there's your opponent with precisely 0 resources and just his base sector, and it's great. You can win through nothing but pop cap.
Yeah, it does look like Sandland is going for something aggressive. His starting build order was a bike and an MG. What else does he got so far?
He's got a Volk to follow up, and so far nothing else building yet. He has the option to build himself another MG, but I think if you look at where the rifle is placed there from science, it's quite intelligently placed. He's got it in the green cover there, so it can't be easily suppressed. It's not very easy to push around with a bike around this area of Stursdorf, because you've got all these bits of pipe work and things like that.
And trucks and everything that, you know, kind of hinders the
Everything that
movement
kind
of
of
a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not that easy. And at the same time, we do have Silence. He's going for the right-hand side of this map very, very aggressively. He's basically got all of his units on the right-hand side, capping the munitions points, 16 outside of Sandland's base to the right, and he's going for the 16 fuel as well. And we did have actually 2 engineers and 3 rifles out so far. So the 4th rifle has just been queued up in the barracks for Silence. But it does look like Sandland is just going for the space pin right away, because he's just sitting outside of the US base now.
Yeah, he's out of the US base, but Silence does still have all the resources from the right-hand side. So you can see, this is again where the brutal cutoffs come into play. You can do the same thing you can do as I was showing you down in the south. If Sandland can take that +5 munitions point, that's going to cut off Silence from all his resources. So it's very tricky. And look at this now, Flamer and MG into the building, and it's an FHQ is being upgraded right now by Sandland in this factory building here. An FHQ at the 4.5 minute mark.
I don't ever think I've seen an FHQ like that, or the aggressive, you know, flamethrower pyro pop in the middle of the engagement here. And Silence now is completely, basically pinned in his base. He does have units out on the map, however, so I'm not exactly sure what he needs to pull off to break this pin right now. But if he doesn't, if he fails and is forced to retreat everything that is coming in from behind now, he's got an engineer actually just chilling out, waiting for his flamethrower upgrade to be finished. And he also has a rifleman squad just behind all of these Wehrmacht forces now. But there is quite a lot of forces from Sandland. 2 Volks, that's Flamer Pyro and the MG and the bike for pushing. So I'm not exactly sure if this is going to work for Silence or not. We gotta wait and see, because here we go! 3 rifles coming in at the same time from the right-hand side, while the MG in the forward HQ actually de-garrisons that building to set up to try and defend against this flank. The Volks took a lot of flak, lost 2 guys actually, very rapidly.
This is a tense moment now, because any misstep from either player is
a really, massive failure.
It's gonna almost be game over right there, because it's such a delicate position that we have. We had the FHQ has been taken instead of a tier 1 unit, so right now this is the time for Silence to make an attack, because right now Sandland has just 2 Volks, an MG, and a bike. He's made up for that lack of an extra tier 1 with a Flamer, but the Flamer only goes so far, whereas Silence should have 4 rifles, and he does have 4 rifles, and a Flamer, with another engineer there in the middle, who looks prone to start cutting off Sandland. The Flamer is now retreated, the Volks are being taken out of the house there. This MG is all that's standing between Sandland and losing his FHQ.
Yeah, if he loses that FHQ, we'd actually have an MG produced
from the
FHQ
Brilliant.
to pop in the building. There are the 2 rifles in Silence's base, however, they all got green cover almost, except for those 2 guys in front of the wall who actually most likely did not go through any form of military training whatsoever, because you gotta stay behind the green cover, not in front of it, guys. But whatever works, I get whatever floats your boat. Here comes the bike now. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to go for, some form of a push maybe, or just to increase the DPS a little bit more on these rifles before they manage to kill that MG in the forward HQ building from Sandland. At the same time, we do have the brutal cutoff is in effect now. We do have an unupgraded Pyro squad actually capping that munitions point as you were talking about before, and this is devastating. Fuel-wise, however, Silence is sitting on over 100 fuel right now, so he could keep ticking or do anything, but map power-wise, he's just losing so many rifles.
Whoa, a Wehrmacht unit went down somewhere. It was a Vanilla Pioneer went down, but a Flamer goes down. And this could be the end of another rifle as well. It is the end of a rifle and a Flamer. This is really bad now for Silence. He's getting his supply yard up, but I don't know. I mean, the supply yard is not going to give him anything. And he's now lost all resources, but if you look at the map now, look at the tactical map, Sandland has no resources either.
No one has any resources whatsoever, because there's a sneaky engineer from Silence walking around, capping everything, actually triple capping Sandland now. So the only thing that is actually going in Silence's favor now is the VPs, but I'm not sure you can hold out against an aggressive base pin like that for 400 VPs more, even with a triple cap.
And look at this, point blank range fire on the MG nest, but actually, look at this, Sandland's been forced to start building units out of his regular tier 1 building because he's cut off, his FHQ is cut off, he can no longer produce units from it until he deals with this cutoff. And you want to know something even crazier? Because Sandland didn't cap a single fuel point all game long, he doesn't even have the fuel to tech tier 2, and the motor pool is almost done.
Oh no! Yeah, I guess that Silence actually did have the 16 fuel on the right-hand side and several other fuel points during this base pin attack from Sandland, which put him ahead quite a lot in fuel-wise. But manpower-wise, he still can't afford building anything from the motor pool. Not even an M8 is being able to be produced from Silence right now due to his manpower. And he's just gotta wait. He's gotta wait. He's just leaving his base now. I guess he's just going to leave the base pin units from Sandland outside of his base and just have to deal with them later.
Is he building anything from that motor pool? Oh, the bike goes down.
Now
That's
he
a nice
is.
little win.
It's actually a T-17.
A T-17. Well, there's a unit that we don't see all too often. I mean, you know, it's probably
But doesn't
a
Silence
good...
usually play with T-17s and stuff
He
like that?
does tend to go for sort of T-17 spam as a sort of a mainline strategy. We have a little breakthrough here. These two rifles and the Flamer have managed to get through the lines, but the problem is Sandland is sitting on all of those important cutoffs. And look at this now. The MG is poised to start taking down this Flamer as he flanks.
Only problem now for these T-17s is that without Vet 1, it doesn't actually have increased health, so Fouts are a mild problem for that T-17, but Silence is actually microing it quite nicely, shooting at maximum range, and the Volts can't really pursue him into the base due to the MG nest, which is in Silence's base. The one that was not destroyed is actually sitting in the back there, protecting his motor pool and his T-17.
Oh, I stand corrected. Tier 2 was actually take, but he didn't have the fuel to actually build it. He went Blitz, and he got a Stormtrooper squad, which is now upgrading to a single Shrek.
He needs some form of hard-hitting AT. Fouts are gonna be enough to keep this T-17 in check for a little while. You see a Faust do quite a lot of damage, actually.
Oh, another engineer just went down there.
Oh,
Volks
retreat.
were forced to retreat, though, in the middle due to those two marauding rifles.
I'm just checking out this T-17 at the base. I really enjoy Silence's micro with this. He's keeping it at maximum range, just trying to... He's actually destroying all of the green cover with the main gun of the T-17.
He
The second T-17...
destroying it, isn't he?
Yes, slowly and steadily taking away all of the cover for Sandland's base pin units, the MGs and the Volks. And we do actually have the second T-17 now produced as well, but that is basically the extent of Silence's fuel now, down to 12 with only a 10 income.
Well, he better make them count then. He's got a deal now with this Blitz Storm Squad. One of the T-17s is getting very low health, but look at these T-17s. They actually managed to decrew one of the MGs. The other one is sent packing on the retreat path. Could even get taken out here by rifles, and it does get taken out by rifles. That's one MG lost. I can feel Sandland's grip on this game, which looked almost set in stone, is actually beginning to slip a little bit. He's lost all his MGs, and he's down to just 2 Volks and a Flamer for the mainline anti-infantry.
But I guess, as you said in the beginning when we were discussing certain sort of strategies, etc., you tend to do, you know, a little bit more of a passive build and then guard the sectors with the income that you really need, like a fuel or munitions or whatever. Or you can go for these risky strategies like Sandland obviously fancies to do on Surstorf, going for this massive, aggressive base pin all-in move. And it just seems that it's just slipping out of Sandland's hands now. He's finally got the 2 VPs in control and stopping the drain at 263 VPs, but still, he did lose, you know, that MG on retreat. I think he's lost a Pio as well, and I'm not sure. And he was cut off just as much as Silence was before.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know...
No one had any resources.
Nobody, just... There is just no resources. Sandland finally managed to get his tier 2 up. He is now building a pack, so that's going to be pretty helpful.
Did that Flamer just set off the mine? I think it did.
Just set off the mine.
Ah, don't
That's
sit
gonna
on
be
your
annoying.
mines,
And now
kids.
the storms are gone. Actually, now the storms, they were the only AT. The pack actually gets cancelled now because Now this is where things are going to get interesting. Of course, with Blitz and with all the death and sort of dying and killing that's been going on, there's a lot of CPs here for Sandland. He's now sitting on another 2 CPs. He's unlocked the stew, and he has 500 manpower now. He's able to call in that stew, and there's no AT now from Silence. Here's the stew, just rolls onto the field, and this thing is actually a viable counter to those T-17s.
Yeah, the thing is now he's got a third T-17 queued up in a motor pool, but before he sees this stew, he's not going to be able to cancel it, I think, because... Oh, he does! He does actually manage to cancel that T-17 and starts producing an AT gun instantly when I saw this stew. If it would have been maybe 3 seconds longer, he would have finished the construction of the third T-17, and that would have been game. Because then he would have had to wait not only for the resources, but for the long build time of the AT gun as well. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it might have gone armor, because it feels like those T-17s and the AT gun is producing a little bit faster than they normally do.
Yeah, they did seem to come out very quickly. And look at that stew there, just melting those rifles, of which there don't seem to be so many anymore. Stormtroopers are now back out onto the field as well, but I mean, both armies are just so small. There's still 2 Volks out, that's pretty useful for Sandland. And now with his tier 2 up, he can start sort of building up a more stable army of Grenadiers. But even just a glancing blow from the stew on one of those T-17s was enough to take down a little bit of health.
Oh, I think Sandland was actually trying to focus fire the repairing engineers, or the T-17 that was getting
nice
repaired. Nice stun! Very nice stun. And the third T-17 is almost completed now, so he's gonna have 3 T-17s and an AT gun from the motor pool now, but he is down to the 2 rifles, and he's actually been forced to rebuild engineers as well. So he does have 2 flamer engineers now for repairing and flaming out MGs in buildings and whatnot, and handling these stormtroopers, for example. But apart from that, you know, he lost two rifles and I think at least 2 engineers, if not more, in that base pin move from Sandland before.
Yeah, it was very costly for both sides, really. It's honestly difficult to say who came out on top. Even though Sandland now is beginning to really capitalize, 3 T-17s.
Yeah,
you know,
and
there's still no pack, although there is actually a pack on the way. So actually, this is the time now where Silence needs to begin to, I don't know, do something with all this armor, all this light armor that he has, because when the pack arrives, that plus the stew plus the Shreks, it doesn't matter how many T-17s he has, it's not going to be able to stand up to that kind of heavy AT. And here it is, the pack is now on the field from tier 2. Following up is a second pack, so actually going very heavily into that anti-tank.
Well, he's seen 2 T-17s. I think he's seen 2 of them. I'm not exactly sure if he's aware of the third one yet, because it was just produced before, and I don't actually think it's seen any battle whatsoever, because it has 0 kills and it's, you know, mint condition, out of box, out of the motor pool. We do actually have the cutoff move from the 16 fuel on the right hand side, so that's going to hinder Sandland's fuel income a little bit, but I guess he doesn't really need it with Blitz.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he has plenty of fuel already. Just from holding that plus 16 just for a minute or 2 has given him 150 fuel in the bank.
Yeah, it's just like Silence in the early game.
Yeah, he just has no real manpower, and he has no real munitions either. These are the real problems.
That is a problem, that's a problem. It looks like Sandland is bunkering down on the left-hand side. He's got his recruit MG, his stormtroopers, his second Volt squad, and also the pack on that right-hand side. Here comes the T-17s. Look at the Stormies, though. Nice ambush. He might actually take out one of the T-17s here. Main gun destroyed. But maybe a Faust, I'm not sure. It's actually going to... Oh, long-range Faust. Where did that come from?
Wow, he must have whipped that out from somewhere.
One
of the T-17s is getting so low on health there.
We do have actually armor chosen from Silence, so I must have been correct with the fast production times of the motor pool units, because that AT gun came out in record time. That must have been due to armor doctrine. Sandland is really bunkering down on the left-hand side now. Double packs.
Yeah, double packs, and it almost looks like he's going to be trying to base spin again. If you look at where they're positioned so far up. This is going to be really tough now. You know, Silence has invested so much into these T-17, so much into this motor pool tech. He desperately needs a weapon support center, but he can't really do anything while the stew is on the field. The stew is just so powerful, although he does have the AT gun, so he's going to have to make good use of that.
Silence now actually taking bars for his 3 rifles. He's rebuilt another one of them after losing 2 in the base pin move.
Not a bad idea, to be honest. Not a bad idea. When you're facing 2 packs, they can decrew the packs very quickly. The Storms are very low health. There's a potential for a lot of damage to be done there. But oh my god, look at this
This, however, is a massive problem for Silence now. With a Stu in the base actually destroying your base buildings in just a few shots, he's going to lose that motor pool. So the 1 AT gun that he actually has on the field is the extent of his AT for now, and he's not going to be able to produce another AT gun. He's trying to, but his Stu is going to kill that motor pool way before it is produced, even though he's gone armor with the fast production.
One more shot.
Boom.
Oh, just a little bit more. Is he going to stick around? Is he going to get greedy? He just needs one more shell.
Yeah, he's facing the motor pool. Here goes the shot, but it's wide, but it does take it out with the splash damage.
The Stu splash is just huge. In 57mm, it began to turn and move back to the base as soon as Silence realized what was going to happen, but he wasn't quick enough. Stu is still very much alive and kicking, and the FHQ has been reinstated in the same building once again.
Here we go with the all-in attack from Sandland again. It didn't actually really work out for him the first time around, but it might work for him this time. We do have, again, Rifleman go down to an MG. And the 2 T-70s still rolling around after losing that one to that super long-range Faust. But I think even with the bars now and the T-17s at backup, and he actually produces a new Rifleman squad from the barracks before losing it to the Flamers and the Stu. I'm not exactly sure what Silence can do in this position right now. What do you think?
Both sides are reinforcing at the same
time.
Oh
yeah, that's true. From the forward HQ, that's what's really keeping Sandland.
Oh, but the Flamers go down.
Oh,
that's a nice little win. The bolts are now
the
sitting in the dot damage from the Flames.
This isn't Company of Heroes 2. You don't need fires to keep warm. It's all nice in summertime and springtime. All nice and warm.
Oh no, these Stormtroopers are putting in the hurt now, though. They may only have 3 Kar 98s, but that doesn't stop them from doing a real number on these Grens. And, not Grens, rifles. And they're getting suppressed practically even before they finish retreating.
Very, very unlucky. All that Sandland needs to do now is put in the good old rusty nail in the coffin by moving up his packs, which I can see he's doing. He's moving up the MG before, which is suppressing and pinning all of the rifles at the HQ.
Oh, whole rifle squad just went down to 1 Stu shell.
The Stu is like hiding. It's hiding in the allied base.
More field repairs pop now, but there's a Grenadier squad here packing another Shrek. Whoa, that T-17 is lucky to still be alive.
The field repair is keeping them alive miraculously, even though the Shreks got several hits on the T-17s. They just somehow managed to survive. They didn't roll a kill crit. Oh, that was a nasty Stu shot. That Rifleman squad is very, very low health, down at 3 man, and the AT gun is actually getting in some nice shots on the Stu, which is forcing it to relocate, but it's using the HQ as a shot blocker.
One of the T-17s goes down now to the Grenadier squad. It's trying to flank this.
I'm not sure where it's going.
But
where's this T-17 going? There's Faust coming in from everywhere. Shrek from the Storms.
Get out of here! Get out of here! He's going to find the other pack, but there's literally nowhere for him to go now. Nowhere for him to go where he isn't going to roll straight into the waiting arms of some Axis AT.
Well, he's trying to hide for one of the packs, and the packs are actually opening up on HQ.
The Stu to shoot his own pack?
But sure. Well, the T-17 Vet 2 actually managed to decrew that pack in record time, I have to say.
With 15 kills. And
look
wow,
at the
did
HQ,
the T-17 just penetrate the frontal armor of a Stu? That's incredible.
I'm not exactly sure. Vet 1 gives them increased health. What about Vet 2 for T-17s? Is that some form of an increased penetration rate, maybe?
Possibly.
Possibly. Because I've seen M8s penetrate frontal armor on Stugs and Stu. It happens. It's
I think it might be, actually. I think it might be.
I
think the Vet 2 might be 1.25 times penetration, and then Vet 3 is 1.5 times damage.
That might be. So we do have the HQ down now for Silence, which means he can...
You can't do a whole lot of when your HQ is down, can you?
You cannot reinforce, as far as I'm aware, and the only ability he can use now is no more field repair or anything like that. All he can do is call in emergency engineers to fix his HQ, but during a base pin, that's not going to help him very much. And this T-17 now, Vet 2, very heroic, piece of armor for Silence's army goes down to the Shrekrans.
This is
That
actually going to be an
was a
annihilation win.
brutal game.
We have gained the momentum on the field.
He's actually going to drop his engineer somewhere, but I don't know where.
Oh, they dropped off in the corner. They paratrooped. Paradropped. And yeah, you know the Tiger's actually unlocked as well.
Well, no wonder with all the amounts of
death.
kill mayhem. That was brutal. That game was brutal. All in base pin attack from Sandland. Didn't work the first time, and then Silence kind of came back, and all of the map was flashing for Sandland as well. He had no resources whatsoever, and he was actually drained to 212 VPs. But then, you know, he came back bigger, stronger, more relentless, and just
And with a stew.
murdered. Yeah, and with the stew. That always helps when you want to destroy someone's base. The stew damage against base buildings is completely insane.
Yes. Well, that was a pretty nuts game. Bit of a shorter one than we would usually do, but we figure you guys have probably seen plenty of Voltvolk Sniper MG, so why not do something a little bit different?
Yep.
But thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe and tell your friends and your mother, because we love people's mothers, don't we, Fatal? We'd love to get you to know your mothers. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys.